Hello, everyone. We are going to be talking about navigating Iowa AEA online today. I want to start by introducing myself. My name is Mrs. Dietrich. I'm here to provide support for you to be successful. I used to be an English teacher in the classroom, and now I am a PK-12 instructional coach. And so I just want to let you know you can find me in the LMC or contact me at my school email address, which you see on your screen, and you can get a hold of me anytime for whatever you might need. So what is Iowa AEA Online? It is essentially a place where you can go to find tools for research that are curated just for you. And Shepard Fairey says one of the great things about the internet is that it's made it easier for people who are clever, which is like you, and resourceful, also like you, to promote themselves. And essentially in any school project that we're doing, we are promoting our own thoughts and ideas. So why not utilize the internet to help us be more successful in our endeavor? So Iowa AEA Online, they curated it and put it all together because schools want you to be successful. So they've partnered with the AEAs and they've put together resources to do just that, help you be successful. There are more than 12 platforms there. They're academic, historical, cultural. They have royalty-free sound, video, and pictures, and you can deep dive into careers and other topics of your choosing for whatever your project might call for. And when you're researching, it is a one-stop shop for everything that you need. There's one location to find all of your resources and for you to complete all of the research that you need to complete for your project or your paper. So what does it have for students? And you'll see in these next few slides, I just have some screenshots of the platforms that are on there for you to utilize. You'll notice there are some stars next to some of them on some of the screens. And so those are the ones that I'm going to be pointing out to you just very briefly. So you'll see the first four on this screen. I have a blue star next to American History in Video. That might be a great one if you need some historical information about your topic and you want to look at some videos and really get some good content about it. This next page, you'll see there's Britannica School. That's an encyclopedia. So if you need to know about one specific person, or you need to look at some maps or view some more articles that are more related to geography or deep diving into individual people, Britannica can really be a great place to start. That encyclopedia will give you great snippets of information about people. There's ProQuest Culturegrams, and that's about countries and their citizens. So maybe you have some more cultural things you need to look up. If you go to the next screen, you'll see Gale, which is going to be something that we dig a little bit deeper into today and probably is one of the best resources and platforms for you to go into to do your research. There's Clipart on there, Learn 360. Those are great resources as well. And then on this page, on the last one, it's SIRS Issues Researcher. And that's also another one that we're going to kind of dig deeper into just a little bit today. And that's where its focus is on issues. But you'll see there's Science Flicks, which is focused more on science. And then here on this last page, you'll see Sounds Abound, which is royalty-free music. So if you're creating some sort of presentation and you need some background noise, but maybe you don't know how to create it, you can utilize that as long as you just say, hey, this is where it came from. It's free for you to use and you're not breaking any copyright laws. Then the other one I would want to point out on here is Teen Health and Wellness. And so if you are working on a project where you need to focus on a health or a wellness issue, there are resources in there for you to help you be successful there as well. So how do you access these resources? Hey, Mrs. Dietrich, that's great. They're there for me, but how do I use them? So super simple. You're going to start online, go to the URL, go to Central Rivers AEA's digital resources webpage, and I'll show you in just a few minutes what that page looks like. Then you're going to choose your platform and you're going to log in with your school credentials. Our entire school shares the same credentials. So our username is 3420 LMCS and our password is CRAEA. And if you choose to use EBSCOhost, then that password is different. And then you can begin researching. So type in your topics or search in the search bar or an advanced search, and you can begin reading and collecting the research that you might need. And so using Iowa AEA Online has some benefits instead of Googling something. The biggest thing that I've noticed students say is that the citation is ready-made. It's there for you. The articles will be read to you. Those sources are vetted. They're organized. Somebody's already gone through them and said, this is a great source or this is not so great of a source. There's no advertisements. It's easy searching. All of these paid platforms have a lot to offer, but they're free because the school and the AEAs have partnered together to give them to you so that you have easy researching. And the process is really simple. So you might say, Mrs. Dietrich, I don't know how to research. Research is really hard for me. I don't even know what that means. But don't fret, because researching really can be super simple. Look at these 3 steps you see on your screen right now. The first thing you need to do is just search and evaluate. So search. Use the platforms to search for the information that you want, and then use sources that support your purpose. And the next thing you have to do is identify and cite. So identify portions of your articles that you want to use. So you might have a summary or a paraphrase or a quotation. You're going to collect that already created source citation, and you're going to copy the URL address later, just in case you need to come back to that source for some reason. And then you integrate it into your project. So you're going to use that information from your sources to support your thoughts in your project or your paper. You have to analyze what it says, build your argument, then use APA or MLA formatting so you're not plagiarizing, and then put a citation on your works cited page. And so we're just going to check it out. And so I've put that hyperlink in there for you. And so you'll see on the screen that's open. And so I am at the AEA Online Digital Resources. These are the this is the live page of all the screenshots that I just shared with you. So I'm just going to scroll down until I get to Gale. And I always like to open in a new tab so I don't have to try to find this digital resources page again. Because if I were to click it, it goes away. It doesn't automatically open in a new tab. So I just click open in a new tab, and at Gale, you'll notice there are different grade levels represented up here at the top. And so I'm going to click on high school, and you'll notice in here there are a lot of options, and you might not know where you want to start, and that's okay. So I'm going to give you a little bit of guidance on where you can be successful. I would suggest, if you're researching, to choose the Academic One file if you're really not quite sure where to start. However, if you keep scrolling on here, you're going to notice there are specific areas where you might say, oh my gosh, that's the career I'm going to be researching, or, oh, hey, that's the topic that I'm researching, and I really want to dig deeper into that. So if I scroll down, you'll notice there's business, agriculture, criminal justice, culinary arts. If I keep scrolling, there are so many more. Gender studies, science, health and medicine, maybe if you're interested in nursing. Information science, if you're more of a technology-based kind of person. Pop culture and psychology, and it just goes and goes and goes. And then I want to point out also at the bottom, there is a part of this platform where it takes full text Spanish and Portuguese language scholarly journals as well. So if you are someone who can benefit from using that, feel free to do that. One that I do also want to point out is vocations and careers. So if I were to click on vocations and careers, I could explore in there as well. So I'm going to click on vocations and careers right now, and then I'll go back to the Academic One file. So to log in, it's that same username and password for everyone. 3420 LMCS for Lake Mills Community Schools. And my password is CRAEA. And then I'm simply going to sign in. It takes me to this same page. So again, just make sure I have high school selected. I want to click on vocations and careers. It opens up a new tab for me. And then in here, I can search where I might want to. I can look at a title list. I can get the link if I need to. So let's click on title list and let's see what this has to offer. So I can look in here. These are the different articles or the different sources that it's pulling from. So the list goes on for a long time. So you can see like there are a lot of resources that it utilizes. So let's say I am interested in welding, and I want to know how to do that. So I search for welding, and it has pulled up almost 17,000 magazines, 3,300 academic journals. It's got books and news and images and videos. And so I can look through here and really try to figure out what exactly it is that I want to focus on. I can sort by publication date or a document type, lexile measure, which is like the difficulty of the reading. And so if I want to be doing welding, I can find some information here. Let's say I want to advance my search a little bit, because that's a few too many things for me to go through. So I will put in welding as a keyword, and there's lots of other categories that you could choose in here, but I'll just keep it simple with welding. And I also want to do training or a training program, and I'm just going to click search. However, I do want to point out you can choose like publication dates. You can do before, on, after, or between a certain window. But I'm going to click all dates for right now. And I'm just going to click search. And this has narrowed my search much more. And so I got rid of 11,000 or so options. And so this really gives me some more detail that I can use. I really like this search. So let's say I want to save this particular search. So I'm going to do that. In order to do that, I need to get the link. Do not copy this URL at the top of the page. If you do choose to do that and they update the website, it may not take you back to here because that link may become broken. So a great way to save that is to click Get Link in the top right hand corner. So I know that if I select this and I copy it, like Control C, I know that if I close out of this accidentally, I've got this in my Word document, that I can put it back in there and it'll take me straight back to this search that I had created, or that I had already created. So if I go there and I say, wow, you know what? Some background information on my career of choice, a welder certification versus a welder qualification. I didn't realize those were two different things, but I really am interested in welding. So let me dig into this a little bit more. I've already copied my link so that I know I can come back to this particular search that I did, and I'm going to look at this particular source because it might really help me out. So I have the publication date, I have the authors, I know that it's an article, it's got 768 words, and so I'm just going to read through it a little bit. And you know what, I need it in a different language. So I might scroll down and say, all right, it needs to be in French, and so it will, it'll translate for me. But I really don't need French. I just wanted to show you that feature. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that. I have it in English. If I think I need the words to be a little smaller, or if I need them to be bigger, I can utilize these accessibility tools that are up here at the top. I can also listen to it as well. You won't be able to hear it as it's playing. I certainly can, but you may not be able to hear it in this particular recording, but you are able to listen to it read to you. You can also download it, email it to yourself, print it, send it to Google Drive so you can have copies of it. If you so choose to take some notes in here, you might say, you know what, welder certification. Let's say this, I didn't actually read this section, but let's say this chunk of information I've just highlighted is really important. I think it'd be a great thing to come back to or paraphrase. So I'm going to highlight that and just make a note to myself. Come back to this later. And I'm just going to go ahead and save that for myself. I scroll a little bit further and then, oh, that's the end of my article. Maybe I say this little chunk, I want to come back to that. And then I can click save on that too. So I'm able to manipulate this particular article that I'm using. However, if I close out of this, it's not going to be there. So I need to make sure that when I'm taking my highlighting and my notes, that I look at these highlights and notes and that I am saving what these highlights and notes have. And so I need to make sure that I copy this, or I export this, or I take a screenshot of this so that I have this information that I need. And then when I do decide to utilize this source, I can simply click on the citation. I can click APA or MLA, I can select it, I can Control C, I can copy that, put it in my Word document, and I can always come back to it as one of my sources. And so this is a great place for you to start. There are more articles on the right-hand side that are similar. You can also scroll down and see those at the bottom of your page. So this is just a brief overview of Gale, and in just a moment I'll go over SIRS as well. Now that I've gone over Gale a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and go through SIRS for just a couple of minutes. So SIRS, I just scrolled down a little bit on my Iowa AEA Online Digital Resources webpage. Again, I am going to open this in a new tab because I like to be able to come back to this screen so I can see the different platforms in which I can be doing some research. So I'm going to click on SIRS, and you'll notice something different about SIRS. Everything on this first page, I've got my searching in the banner, but if I scroll down a little bit, I just see a whole bunch of topics. So trending topics, the editor's picks. You know what? I don't know what I want to be focusing on right now. So I'm just going to click on all leading issues. And when I go in here, I'm just going to be able to scroll and scroll and scroll about all these different kinds of topics. You know what, let's do zoos, because when I wrote a research paper a few years ago, I used zoos as my topic because no one else had chosen to focus on and research on that issue. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about that because it's one that I'm a little bit more familiar with. And so I am just going to come in here, and you're going to notice right away some of these things are really familiar as to what you just saw in Gale. And so I know I can listen up here on the left-hand side, over here on the right. If this is an article that I want to use or this particular page I want to use, I can click the Cite button. Again, another little pop-up box shows up. I can have MLA or APA so that I can copy this, put it in my Works Cited, and utilize it in my paper. And so I want to read this full summary. It expands it a little bit. There's information there about zoos. And you got to remember, SIRS is an issues researcher. And so almost every single one of those topics, you're going to notice there's a viewpoint 1 with some articles represented and a viewpoint 2 with some other articles represented. A lot of times when you're going into SIRS issues researcher, you want to be able to identify this is the way one group of people think, and this is the way the other group of people think. And while there's always space in between with varied viewpoints, it's nice to be able to say agree or disagree, or these are the two stances that are happening. And so this will separate those articles for you. So viewpoint number 1, many zoos and aquariums have conservation programs that protect these animals. If that is the viewpoint that you want to support and write about and work with, those are a few sources that will assist you in that endeavor. If you're on the other side of the spectrum, viewpoint 2 says animals should remain in their natural habitat. So then these are some articles that would be good to support that particular viewpoint. And so I can always find more. I can click on zoos, do a search or an advanced search like I showed you in Gale. The search page is very similar. I'm going to keep on scrolling. You'll notice there are some critical questions here that you might want to explore, like if zoos are shut down, how should the animals be reintroduced to the wild? Ooh, I've never thought about that before. Would animals in captivity be able to even go into the wild? Probably not. I don't know that they would know how to survive. Depends on the practices of the zoo. And so there's a little comic or a little cartoon over here. And then if you scroll a little further, you'll see that there's a timeline as well. And so I can just scroll through that timeline, view a full timeline. It expands it for me so that I can get some really detailed information on whatever topic it is that I'm choosing. However, you'll notice it's a lot of information, but it's just an overview. And so I know that if I want to be exploring zoos, I probably should dig a little bit deeper than just an overview of what it is. So I want to search a little bit more, find more sources for zoos. So I'm going to go and click on that. And this is more what a search engine might look like. I can search up here at the top. I have my advanced search, my little bit of information, my 2 viewpoints. That's a summary of that last page I was just on. And then this looks like maybe what Google would look like, or whatever your chosen search engine might be. And on the left-hand side, just by searching zoos, there's 823 newspapers, 83 images, there's 113 web resources, 75 other sources. I can go by publication date if I so choose source. But let's click the last 12 months and see what is happening. Oh, January 2021, what are zoos good for? The pandemic hurts zoos too. Pandemic is a big thing right now. I'm interested in that. And I think, talking about zoos and the pandemic, and you know what? That's definitely something that I think I'd be curious in. So I'm going to read my little excerpt right here. You know what? Yep, that looks good for me. So I'm going to click on it, and I've got this abstract up here. Remember, an abstract is just a summary of that entire article. In Gale, it doesn't say summary up here. It says abstract. But an abstract and a summary are essentially two really similar things. An overview of what the article is. So again, I can translate if I need to. I can click listen. I have when it was published and who it was published by. And so I can scroll down and I can just read through my article. If I want it read to me, I can highlight it. I can listen to that selection. It is that computer automated voice, but it will assist you if that is something that you need. And so I could go through, I could read that article. Here are some related topics on endangered species, maybe more zoo, wildlife conservation, depending on the bullet points that I want to focus on from my outline in my paper or my project. So let's say this is something I do want to use. I'm going to cite it because that is something that I really want to come back to. Remember, do not use this URL up at the top of your screen. You're going to want to make sure that you use this cite. And on the site in here, there's a URL address in that source citation. And so if I were to copy this, see, I can open this link in a new tab. So if I copy this source citation and I put it in my works cited page, it brings me right back to this article again. So this link in under that citation button, it will bring me directly back to this article versus if you click this URL at the top and the website updates, that link could very easily become broken, and then you won't be able to find this article as easily as you would if you just copy and pasted your citation into your works cited page. So keep that in mind. You could print it if you need to or save it to the cloud. I'm not sure how formatting will change if you click this button versus if you take some screenshots or if you try to just copy this page and put it in a Google Doc if you so choose to do that, to highlight or manipulate it in some way. And so that is a way that you can utilize SIRS as an issues researcher. So if I wanted to do an advanced search, it looks similar to Gale, but it's just not quite as specific. So if you're looking to begin working on some of your research, just remember that Iowa AEA Online, they have so many digital resources for you. And Shepard Fairey again says that the great thing about the internet is it has made it easier for people who are clever and resourceful to promote themselves. Every project you do in school, and as a student in a school, someone who wants to be educated, it is so important that you promote yourself and your thoughts and your ideas. And in order to do that, having resources online to help you be successful and to help support your claims and your thoughts are a way for you to argue and support what you say in a really academic and structured way. And so utilizing Iowa AEA online resources, it allows you to get to that point with all the support that you might need. So just remember when you are logging on that you use the school's username and password, and you will be able to utilize these resources as often as you so choose. That username is 3420LMCS and your password is CRAEA for all of the platforms except for EBSCOhost, which is the -1 is after it. Again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask the teacher who shared this with you, or make sure that you can surely come and reach out to me in person or via email at my school email address. Again, that information is right here on this page. Oh, you won't be able to see it because my picture's in the way. There we go. At sdietrich@lake-mills.org. So please reach out to me if you need any help. Otherwise, good luck with your project. Be clever, be resourceful, and use everything you can to help make your ideas truly what you want them to be.